I want to add on the response from the Iranian counterpart. Of course, he is Ibrahim Zolfagari, the spokesperson for the IRGC's Khatam al-Anabiya Central Headquarters, who has said that if attacks on non-civilian targets are repeated, our retaliatory response will be carried out far more forcefully and on a much wider scale. It does not sound like they are scared of such threats. On the other hand, on Tuesday morning, the Israeli Defense Forces, the IDF, warned Iranians not to use trains and to stay away from rail lines for 12 hours. Going near these locations endangers your life, it warned. That is a preemptive to any kind of attack. It is a methodological attack on the infrastructure, if not on the civilian casualties. I want to know what these comments actually mean from you, sir. Not only so, there is an issue of Asian allies of the US in Asia have been left to scramble for deals to save their economy. Most of it is based on oil from the Strait of Hormuz. One of these nations, as an example, is South Korea. Almost 70% of its manufacturing is based on the dependency on crude oil. And it's important to know how Asia as a whole will be affected. According to various media outlets, it says that Asia will be the most affected. Some of our nation as well as Pakistan and surrounding economies will be affected if this long war is prolonged. How do you see it?
Well, thank you very much. Let me share my personal experience. I am residing in the cantonment, and within the cantonment near the CSD there is a petrol pump.
Correct.
And it is usually taken by the defense officers, usually. And usually there is no trafficking because it is for the usually designated for the specific peoples. But yesterday when I came to take the fuel, there is a heavy queue and there is no queues for the specific personnel. So all that together. Okay, no problem. Take me the pride as a citizen and the democratic personnels. I was in the queue, and behind me I saw there are the other people from the military and the paramilitary, even from the other personnel, civil personnel relations. I stayed for the couple of the hours to take the token. Then I was in the queue. I take the token again in the second line for the queue. There is no separated line, and again for the 2 hours to reach to the petrol pump. So I took, residing inside the territory, 4 hours. So I understand what is happening total Bangladesh. Now, as you specifically said, for the India, there the more than 40% fuel is taken from the Hormuz. In the flat rate, it is said that 20% of the total world's fuel is exports through that. So if it is blocked, so world will not get that 20% of the fuel. It is a flat rate. But in some specific countries, as you said, from the South Korea, from the India, as the India having the tremendous political influences, especially the economical influences, even in the European countries, a lot of the Indians are theirs. And the many machineries and the factories are being run by the Indian personnel. But ultimately, India reduced the tax as the people can take the fuel in the reasonable price. If it prolongs, what will happen? There is a vicious cycles. Ultimately, in Bangladesh, we cannot provide the full tank reserve. Say it can be taken by the $4,000, correction, 4,000 taka, but it is given for the 1,000 taka, occasionally less than that. Same thing happened in the India and other countries. So ultimately, what is happening? The fuel is being consumed to be in the queue. It is already been exhausted.
And to lose your time is to lose the most valuable asset one can have.
And that is the most valuable asset. And the supply chain, say from the Dhaka, we don't produce any food, any vegetables, any groceries and others. All are being carried from the
other
remote
64
places.
districts, yes.
Remote places. So if it increases the fuel, ultimately the price will be increased. That is very layman explanation.
So that is the market dynamics, just to prove that if one effect is on one position, it will have another creation on another.
Exactly. So one thing, if it is started, and what is inflation is going on, and it is throughout the world, and stress, insecurity, which is not being seen. So as a doctor, I know the insecurity prevailing within the mass community, it creates unscenic disorders like the hypertension, diabetic, pre-cancer stage, even the heart attacks, because the stock markets, there are a lot of the investments, even the poor people and the people who having the only the least earning, it is also been given. And the stock market, there is a yesterday the 100 parameters was decreased. So who having the invest, say for the 1 lakh, he saw due to the war it is reduced by the 80,000, so 20,000 has already been gone. It is only started of the war. If it is truly happened tonight, there is a heavy bombardment, what will be happen in the remaining days, we are yet to know. So we see that in the different parameters, in the different aspects or different structures of the country. So it is ultimately it questions there is what will be really happened. And if you go for the one back history, there was a proposal of the ceasefire of the different countries. Okay, let us see what are the wings. One wings allied by the Asim Munir was the field marshal of the Pakistan, he along with the Turkish and other Muslim countries. But incidentally, it was very much accepted by the Trump. Trump said, yes, Asim Munir, you are my field marshal. He told me that way.
He had various meetings with the Donald Trump in his recent movements.
Exactly,
as
the
well.
vice president and the military dignitaries and the other personals. Well, they give some plans, but in the other parts, that China also said that we are supporting the Russia to negotiate. Because if the questions of the negotiation, third party is required. If there is a misunderstanding between you and me, I cannot come and tell there is a misunderstanding. There must be third party. He came, and who is closer to you, he must be closer to me as well as.
Who must water down both parties.
Exactly.
And that is
he
a
must
very
be accepted to that both parties.
holy cause, as I would say, to stop the war.
So in that case, as I said, Turkey or the Pakistan is accepted by the by Iran. But the double standard of the Pakistan is that they are firing upon the Afghanistan, you see. So being Muslim, they are attacking the other Muslims country, and their logic is still not very clear. What is the real hostility? Because this Afghan and the Taliban is patroned by the Pakistans once, and they made by them. And again, same thing happened in the Russia. They are fighting against the Ukraine. And Ukraine is part of the USSR. And what is the cause? It is their right to go to the NATO or not to the NATO. It is a separate country. You cannot tell that you should come to me. You can request, but you cannot military impose.
You can't dictate, yes.
You can dictate. So all the countries playing multiple roles. Russia now becomes very friend to the Iran, apparently to the Muslim countries. But they still keep on fighting against the Ukraine, number one. Pakistan, as I said, double standard. So the professional approach to the both of the acceptable countries is unquestionable, because the Iran's logic is very strong. Today you may put the ceasefire, okay, partly negotiation happened, you flew back, but after 1 or 2 years you may come again and do the same thing, who knows.
And that is very important, because last summer we've seen a 12-day war, and then a recap of that is now happening almost 40 days.
Exactly. So from the Iran side, it is not unjustified to say to have the permanent solution not for the Iran as well as for the Gaza. Because we can remember from since our intelligence level, when I was schoolboy, still heard the name of the Palestine. They are fighting against the Jewish attacking. Still it is going on. So there is no permanent solution. And as you said, for the fuel point of view, if you can remember 70s decade, there happened the two phenomenon in the UK and in the USA. In the UK, the fuel price was so high that the government was fall down, it was said.
There was an energy crisis during that decade.
Exactly. And same thing happened in the 1974, 1975, 1972. So this is the power of the fuel. So naturally it becomes a headache for the other countries as well. I don't say the headache. This is the commitment, this is their rationality, this is their duties to solve the issue amicably, as both parts is at least having their minimum sanctity and their standard. Because the egoistic part is one of them. The language of the Iran, they might also be more democratic. I am not blaming, But then thing is that while compromising, everyone have to negotiate, have to be more flexible. But that is obvious. That is obvious. Yes, you bombard fast, you kill their Ayatollah. So there it is their commitment to take the revenge. But even then, above all, peace comes first.